Star Wars fans. Hey, you know there are just 45 days until Christmas 2021. Today we've got some fun things to share with you all. I want to start just by addressing the Santa virtual visits. I put in the crawler at the bottom. The web address has changed from last year. It was known as Jingle Ring. It's still the same company. They rebranded a bit. It's called Zoohoo, and they're kind of putting people on a wait list right now. But within the next couple of days, we're going to go live with reservations and scheduling for virtual Santa visits. And this is this is sort of what you'll get. A little bit more. Put the hat on, and we'll put the gloves on, and we will have a different background, but you'll have a full Santa experience with your family. And we had the opportunity to do that last year with Gray and with Mark and Adam from Fanjecture Mini. So we look forward to doing that again this year, and maybe we'll get a chance to do it with some of your families as well. So we have that to look forward to, and you guys, I am super excited to be sharing this with you today, and perhaps we'll get Will to join us in just a moment. Will Morgan from MetaEgg, he just premiered his video about Omega, and Will is part of the group of folks we met over at the Den of Nerds, and the community began there with Josh Lucas, and we want to continue this community of just fans. And you'll see there's that logo up there for Nerd Holla. And there's a Discord group for that as well, where we self-promote or each other and each other's content. Will is part of that, as well as myself and many others, Burke the Nerd and Stormy, formerly of Everyday Geeks, and he's got a new channel he just started. You guys go check out Nerd Holla. You saw on Will's outro the Nerd Holla kind of graphic that I have on mine as well, and it's an attempt by many of us who met at the Den, and just to reach out to and bring in other content creators and promote. And we believe that as the water rises, all ships go with it, right? So the better that we do as a community, the more all of us will grow and benefit from it. And Will has a wonderful channel, way too few subscribers, and he does he looks into some of these Easter eggs, things that you may not catch when you watch it initially. And Will's video, he's been sharing that with me. We've been kind of previewing it and things in the background, and he premiered that this morning. Let me just bring it up here. I've got the link in the description here, and I stopped it at a bad spot. Let's see if we can stop at a better spot for Will. There you go. It's a little bit better. Hey, Trev, good to see you here. X-Wing, good to see you. Oh my goodness. And of course, Mark's here. There's a couple of great questions, and Will, if you get a chance, please join in the link that I sent you. We've got some questions. We got some things to talk about. And we get you in to the live stream. That would be great. Mark's first question here was, will Omega get the white armor by the end of Bad Batch Season 2? Well, that's a great question, Mark. You know, we've already seen that white armor in Bad Batch Season 1. It was in Sid's office. We first got the view of the helmet. I'm just going to let Will's video play here in the background while we visit. Oh, there he is. Let's bring Will in. Let's get his take on this as well. Hey there, Will. Good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going really, really well. It's great to see you. I love
it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, sure. We want more folks to get familiar with what you're doing. And so, what do you think of Mark's question? The first question here: will Omega get the white armor by the end of Bad Batch Season 2? What do you think?
Man, that's a tough question right out of the box. That's tough because I don't know exactly what they're planning. We're dealing with like such a big time span. I mean, we all have questions on where has Omega been.
Yep.
And the theory, if I'll just go right out and say it, is that if they follow the whole Omega being Snow White mythos, then she's probably going to disappear for a while and then come back. But she can age within that time period. And it might not be for a couple of years that we even see her. That's the theory based on, just the idea that they're planning. You have to consider how far they're planning ahead.
Right. And how many seasons of the Bad Batch are actually planned? We know they've got season 2 coming, but will there be 5 seasons? And Trev, I like Trev's answer there at the beginning. I don't know if you saw it. I'll bring it up. Let's get here, Trev. He says, let's see if I can get this to come up. There it is. My feeling is it'll be the closing shot of the show. Well, if the show, like the show, not a season, right? The series, if it's the closing shot of the series, her getting the white armor, well, we don't know how many seasons will there be.
Exactly. And it brings up another question on something we've talked about before, is how much time changed from the first episode of Bad Batch to the last episode. Are we dealing with... I figure that we're dealing with a year, is what I guess. Just like any standard, like, seasonal show, right?
Right.
And so how much is she going to age? And here, like, okay... You know more about the legend history of the clone uprising than I do. That's why I love you, because you're way knowledgeable on a lot of stuff that I don't know about. Right?
Well, maybe.
Do you think? Okay, I feel like the whole point of Omega being very strong as far as like strategy and whatnot goes plays to the point that she's going to lead quite a few people. And she mimics Hunter, so I feel like she'll be a commanding officer of a large group of clones. Whether that includes just like another form of the Bad Batch, or this is okay. This, without explaining the whole theory, this is what I think is going to happen. I feel like she's going to develop a little bit. She's going to get yanked away from the Bad Batch, either by what they think is a death or a kidnapping or somebody realizing who she is and becomes extremely valuable. So she has to go away for a while. And I feel like nobody's going to look for her. And then I feel like she's going to get revived further up the timeline, closer to Mando. Which would be like what? 15 years?
Yeah. Well, no, closer to 20.
I think that either she's going to go away and come back, or she's going to be in suspended animation and it will be like a child will lead them thing. Because that's the big question mark as far as... It's funny because I came to you with most of this theory on the first episode. And since then, we've seen a lot of it get like played out before the video even came out. And it looks like I'm repeating stuff that happened in the series, but I actually recorded it before the series happened.
Well,
but there's still a bunch that we don't know. Like some of it's been like fit together into little pieces, but that question as far as like when she'll put that armor on, that might not be even revealed for like 5 years. Because it might be a couple of series down in Mando. It could be a couple of series down in... I think everything's going to kind of culminate in that. And probably a lot of that's going to have to do with cloning and everything like that, and will play into a lot that we don't understand as far as the prequels go.
Well, there's another interesting part here that I'm latched onto. I follow your Omega Snow White theory, and I think it's fantastic. I just there's another timeline that fits in, and that's Finnick, right? Where is Finnick Shand? We know Finnick is in the Bad Batch. We know Finnick is in Mando. She's going to be in the Book of Boba Fett, and her star is rising, right, among the Star Wars fans. And with that, where was she? Where was Finnick all this time? And I think, just my own impression, is that Omega and Finnick's stories will be linked together. Again, it's just my own theory. I have no way to go off of it, except that in season 1 we had a couple of times where Finnick specifically was like, "I'm here to help you, kid," and we know that Finnick was hired by Nala Se, the nice one, Nala Se, her mother figure,
right,
to save Omega, to rescue her, to make her safe. And of course, Omega doesn't see it that way because Finnick's trying to kidnap her from her family, the Bad Batch, right? For your video, the I want to say elves, right? I can't help it. A bit from the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, right? So the dwarfs, right? Her family, and they're, speaking of which,
this is your bias. This is Santa bias. Everything is elves to you.
I know I can't help it. But, I think that eventually, and hey, I see Sheev there, Hawks Holocrons, Trinity. Trinity is premiering a video right now as well. But I think that eventually, like you said, she's going to get separated. And I saw Star Wars Meg. She was also saying she thinks that Omega is going to get separated from the Bad Batch at some point.
And I think maybe for a prolonged period of time, like,
oh yeah,
and that will fill in a lot of holes on why we didn't see her, why we don't know her post the whole Clone Wars material that we have to go through. So it's really interesting because you can tell because of Mando and because of Bad Batch that there's been a change at Disney as far as Star Wars is concerned. And that has to do with planning. So, and as soon as they said the word Omega, it was like, that's what's going on here. So we know she's coming into live action, and we know she's connected because, like you said, because of Finnick.
Right.
So, like, if Boba doesn't know about Omega all of this time, Finnick is basically designed to be there to go, hey, wait, dude, you got a sister, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that, well, if, and Trev asked the question, it's what's going through my head. I've got two things going through my head. One is that I just saw the Saul Guerrero piece come up, and Star Wars Meg just did a members only video for her patrons. I'm one of her Patreon supporters, and I got to see her Saul Guerrero video, and here you're talking about Saul Guerrero and Shay Guevara, but that has been that connection's been made. But I want to go back real quick to Trev pulling it out. How long will the Bad Batch live? Right, they're accelerated aging, and we know that the clones are accelerated aging. Are they going to live another 25 years? Another 50 years for them?
Well, I feel like, so Return of the Jedi, if the whole Rex being in Return of the Jedi is true, they're only going off of, like, what is that, 5 years after that, maybe? Right? Is that true for Mando? Mando's 15 years after Jedi? Or 5 years?
Mando's roughly 5 years after Jedi.
Right. So if Rex is alive at Return of the Jedi, and we're not, that's not canon, that's just what Filoni mind boggles. But if that's true, then the Bad Batch could still be alive also, right? They would just look like Rex. They would all be old.
They'd be old, right. And how many of them are going to survive will they all survive? Right, and I'm of the opinion that the Bad Batch is the Space A-Team, right? It's
Yeah.
Star Wars A-Team, and you've got the same sort of character types. You've got the same sort of story points about finding their role in a post-war universe as mercenaries for hire, right? So that's A-Team.
Yes.
And so I don't necessarily buy into look, they are all going to die, which a lot of people do. I'm not necessarily of that opinion. Maybe some will die, but maybe not. Look, the A-Team, nobody ever died, and so
Right.
I think they could absolutely live through. It's a good question, but
Well, once we got through the end of Bad Batch and we still had the complete set and they were all together and all the speculation died on which one of them was going to perish. Now none of them perished. So I mean, it's pretty good to assume that they're going to last a while. In fact,
Yeah.
they might have lasted the whole time.
So
We might. I got a crazy idea. This is all speculation, but we're going to speculate. We're going to speculate responsibly. We're just going
Okay.
to we're going to imagine how do you pronounce the guy who plays Boba Fett's name? Tamura.
Yeah, Tamara Morrison.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Cam and Owens. So, like, okay, what if you kind of, I mean, he's the right age. He's the right age for an old Rex.
Yes.
What if he plays the entire Bad Batch?
Well, there's some physical differences in some of them, though. I don't think you can pull it
we do
off
have
with-
we do have technology. I
Yes.
mean, you could have different people with his face on them in different shapes, all voiced by him. Oh my God, dude! Just think of it. Just think of Boba Fett and the Bad Batch going to rescue like a frozen Omega.
Well,
Like-
so you're raising a great point. That's exactly. So if the Bad Batch are alive, let's say in the Mando era, and if they get separated, right, we could absolutely see something coming about, like if Finnick and Omega are off doing something yet to be identified,
Yes.
and the Bad Batch are still doing their mercenary for hire thing. Them coming back to either get a carbonite frozen Omega to free her, to follow up with your Snow White theory, right?
Yeah.
If she's been asleep this whole time,
Right.
then they're coming to rescue her. That could
You would have the
absolutely be a
scene.
story.
You would have the Snow White scene of her there in Carbonite and all of them standing around her or whatever.
Yeah, that could be huge.
That would be enormous. That would be so just epic. Just epic.
It solves the problem of where she's been. It doesn't necessarily solve the problem where the Bad Batch has been, though. Right?
Yes.
But,
This is
but they
so
could-
you. So that's I want to make that clear as far as MetaEgg's concerned, dude. I'm only using logic here. I'm understanding that they're designing something in the future, and I'm speculating based on what they've got that they've already given us to what they're planning. Like it's like chess, you know. It's like there's only so many moves that they can go here,
right.
and
Right.
then you have to decide on what the purpose was for her to begin with. And the purpose for her, there. Alpha and Omega, it's said in the effing name. Once she's linked to Boba like that, she has to do with Boba's future. That's the only reason why they would ever do that.
Oh,
Finnick is
sure.
just the nail in the coffin.
Yes. Look, I agree. Will, I absolutely love you. I'm so thankful you agreed to come on and that I'm able to work with you. And as Meg says, I'll take 5 of whatever Will is on.
Just 3 cups of coffee, I swear. 3, just 3.
I love the energy you have. I could only wish that I had as much. But look, if not Carbonite Frozen Finnick or Omega, it's very possible that Omega and the Bad Batch have been doing their mercenary for hire thing for 27 years, and
Yeah.
now she's in her mid 30s, around 40, and she could be have been operating as this super trooper, right? The Omega the White, with the Bad Batch, doing mercenary work for 27, 28 years, right? Like, it's very possible that they're off doing something, because otherwise you have a problem of the Bad Batch. Where are they, right?
Yeah.
And what have they been doing? Trev, yeah, Delta Force, right?
Well, it would be like I imagine it would be a lot like that scene in Rebels where the rebels descend upon Rex and his group of individuals, which would be Wolf and who else is with him at that time?
Rex, Wolf, Gregor.
Gregor. Yeah.
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 So what if you did have, okay, so what would be 7 clones? It would be like, okay, so how many of the Bad Batch is there? 5? Is that right?
Yeah. Including Omega. Well,
We'll take Omega. Omega's not one of the dwarves.
Right. And if you take Tech,
Tech.
No, not Tech.
Echo.
Yeah, Echo. He makes 5, but he's not technically.
Right, he's a Bad Batcher. I mean,
Right.
and he is a clone.
Right.
And then you get Bulba, that would be 6. And then maybe Rex would be 7.
Fennec
And how
is 7.
all of them. Fennec is 7. But I mean, Rex too. If you had like an older Rex standing over Omega, because he already knows her. Ahsoka knows her. Think about Omega and Ahsoka together.
So, just real quick, Anderson says, "Is that the real Star Wars, Meg? Why is your account not verified? Why are you not a blue check mark, Meg? Where's your blue check mark?" That it is actually Star Wars, Meg Anderson. Just to let you know, it's the real Star Wars. There we go again. she's actually Meg's dog. There have been rumors. But no, it is actually Star Wars Meg. She's absolutely fantastic. And so here's the Super Trooper we're talking about with the white armor, right?
Yeah.
So the reason it's called Super Trooper is that when they were first doing the drawings, before Boba Fett ever had a name of Boba Fett, there was a Super Trooper, and they were going to be designed. Well, they ended up
something in command, something like a general or a sergeant, as far as a stormtrooper goes. And they kind of tagged it Super Trooper. But it basically donated as someone who was in... It basically became the Crimson Guard, I think.
Well,
the idea.
Yeah.
Or like even the... What are the black guys called? The Death Troopers or whatever they're called?
Right.
Like that's basically what the idea became.
Right. That's exactly right. And so you had what were called Super Troopers. They were, and it was just white armor. They hadn't colorized it yet.
Right.
And then it came from that into Boba Fett, and then Mandalorians came out of that. Like,
yes.
As the whole thing was evolving, it started as Super Trooper, Boba Fett, Mandalorians, so on and so forth. So what we're talking about here in your video specifically too, you keep mentioning the Super Trooper, which is fantastic. I love where you keep bringing in the other Super Trooper. That's hilarious. But yeah, so the Super Trooper, this white armor, it's the initial prototype armor for Boba Fett before Boba Fett was Boba Fett.
Right.
So
it's the first. It's called Proto. Usually when they make figures, they call it Proto Boba Fett, right?
Yes. And Meg, you're absolutely 100% true. Will's the type of guy you want to have a beer with while he tells you the most elaborate conspiracy theories. Love this guy. I love this guy too.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm coming for you, Meg.
I love him. No, I think that so it's very possible that, and we saw that white armor. We saw the white prototype
Yes.
armor in Sid's office.
Yes.
It kind of ties everything together. And
This
Alpha Omega.
for the record, you're my witness. This video was filmed before they showed that. I had to add it in with arrows and stuff.
And yes,
Because you woke up the next morning and my phone was going off. Like Mike Porter was just like, Santa's looking for you!
yes, because I saw the white prototype armor and I was like, "Whoa, Will Morgan!" Because you actually presented the idea to me. You put the seed in my brain before we ever.
I think it was
got
the
there.
first episode. It was the first episode. I didn't have it all put together, but I was so excited. You were the first person I looked for.
It was okay.
And you knew exactly. You were just bam, 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 bam.
The pieces fell right together, and I was
Yeah,
like,
it makes
"Holy
sense.
moly! I think Will's on to something." And I have been championing your theory since, and I've adopted it. I've been spreading it out there. I think that it's absolutely spot on. We have Alpha and Omega. Alpha, Boba Fett, and I've talked about this on my videos. He wears more of a darker kind of.
He's a
armor.
darker character. He's
darker haired, and then you've got Omega, lighter haired. She wears some white accents on her clothing. There. Speaking of which, there we got Omega.
it's right there. Boom.
He's right there. Boom. And so I think that you're absolutely on to something, and that.
But I mean, the reason. Do you think that they're? I mean, how long are we going to have Boba in the Mando? Like, how long do you guys think the book of Boba can last?
Oh, there it is.
Can't last long.
Speaking
It can't last long.
There you
So
go.
this is a plan. They're doing a switcheroo, and they're doing it simultaneously, which you got to give them props for. You got to give them props. They're not doing this back thing. They're not trying to retcon. They're not Marvelizing it. Like, there's been a lot of speculation that Star Wars was going to become Marvel. All they really did was, we can plan. We can do multiple things at one time and make them, like, plan for a convergence in the future.
Yeah.
This is what we wanted for Star Wars. You should be happy about this.
Yes. And I do think eventually, I think it's very safe to assume we will see Omega everywhere. Just as we're
She's
going
gonna
to
be
start
big.
to see Fennec.
But
everywhere.
people who have no idea about the history of the proto-Boba and stuff like that will poop their britches when they see a white girl version of Boba being put in front of them suddenly. And then they're going to go back and they're going to be hyped up about all the other stuff. So this is the thing. If Star Wars doesn't do this, they're idiots. They're stupid. If they screw this up, then...
So Meg asked a good question. Is that poster right there? Who's that on the poster we see behind your shoulder there?
Oh, well, like you, I'm building this office right now, and I didn't have anything on the walls. I just finished.
Yeah.
So that's Rogue One. That's back there. You can't see it. But I was like, I have to put up something Star Wars. So that's Rogue
exactly.
One. So I got to talk about what brought me here, okay? And that was basically the state of Star Wars before. I mean, one of my first memories that I ever had was I was born in 78, and when did Empire Strikes Back come out?
Empire? 83, all right.
So what was I, like 4 or something? Yeah. My first memory was standing in Eastdale Mall in Montgomery, Alabama, and the line was going around the corner. And I was like, I was able to talk to them. I was like, what is going on? Like, what are all these people here for? And they were like, oh, this is Empire Strikes Back. I was like, what is that? And they're like, it's Star Wars Part 2. I was like, what is Star Wars? And it was like, literally everybody looked down in the crowd and was like, you don't know what Star Wars is? Like, but that was before like VHS or any of that noise, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think VHS came out until Return of the Jedi. I think that's a big deal. It was like one of the first VHSs available was Return of the Jedi. But anyways, I was in the movie theater seeing this big buzz, and it was like one of the first times you could feel the hair on your arm stand up. And I hadn't even seen it yet. But even to this day, Empire Strikes Back, like I went back, probably hadn't watched it in a long time. I was thinking with my top 5 video, like the movie is just a good movie. Well, outside of any noise from the whole rest of the Star Wars trilogy, it's like a standalone, just good movie. But it made a huge impact. But when I saw The Last Jedi, and I don't mean to crap on anybody who likes The Last Jedi, you have to understand, my wife and I have been married for like 18 years. One of the very few things that we have in common is Star Wars. We named our daughter Leia.
Nice.
So, when we're in The Last Jedi, it was the particular scene where the iron came down, right? And it looks like a spaceship, and then they're in... You remember when Finn and Rose are on the run, and they're in that big machine, and then you see it, and it looks like a spaceship, but it's actually an iron?
Yes.
My wife looked over at me and goes, "This isn't Star Wars, this is Spaceballs."
Oh, hold on a second. We had that same sort of scene in A New Hope. When they're in the, or was it New Hope, or was it, where you see the tortured guy come down? And
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi?
And it looks just like,
Maybe.
It's the same sort of thing.
Dude, all you're saying is that The Last Jedi did it better. That's all you're saying. But it ripped her out of the movie. This is what I'm saying. It had nothing to do with me. It like totally ruined my wife's relationship with Star Wars, and I couldn't argue with her. There's nothing I could do. So like when Rise of Skywalker came out, I was looking for reconciliation. Like, what is going on here? And I had just gotten YouTube available, like where you could have unlimited data, and I just listened to your shows and everybody involved in Star Wars, and I was like, the whole idea of talking it out like soothed me. My wife still won't talk to me about it, but at least I can talk to you guys.
You're here. Oh my goodness, I love it. So. Look, I think that it is an absolutely no-brainer that we are going to see Omega. We've seen Fennec. We have the two of them tied together. I think you put it really well earlier that Fennec is specifically there to tell Boba, "Hey, by the way, dude, you got a sister."
Yes.
And then there will be this search for her or introduction to her.
We don't know how long. And of course, I mean, with all speculation, this might not have a payoff, but I know it's a safe bet. It's a safe bet to say that all of those things are going to happen.
I agree. And Anderson, look, it's true. I do like The Last Jedi. I love it. I'm a fan.
Like it says at the beginning of this video, I will explain how I became reconciled with them in a video that this part of this, like the stuff about the fugitive and all of that, I was going to include in the next video. But now it gave me the opportunity to make that video shorter so I can just focus on the 3 films. And I think that there's a lot of understanding that you can do with, I can't remember the director of The Last Jedi. Ryan
Johnson.
Yes, thank you. Once I figured out what he was doing, once I figured out that he was literally doing everything opposite of what we wanted. And he was basically taking what Empire Strikes Back did with the, subverting expectations with Darth Vader going, "I am your father," and he took it to a meta level where every decision that he made as a filmmaker, but that's really irritating. I mean, I put up Rogue One because that was probably of that era. That's one of my favorite Star Wars movies, but it was really hard to accept too because it started off so different than any other Star Wars movie that we had ever seen.
Yeah.
And so, as a fan who had studied the films, it was like a slap in the face. So you were already disoriented about what Disney was going to try to do with Star Wars. And then you'll give this, I mean, what Johnson did was basically like fan art to a meta level, but he only did it because J.J. Abrams had did it the movie before him.
So yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far because
yes,
there's other things I want to come back to. The question: when will we see? So I agree with you that I think Omega is a safe bet to see in other projects, other animated projects, other live action projects. That she's absolutely potentially in everything, right? Everything, because she's established in the prequel era. And she and Finnick ties her to the sequel era in a way, or that time in between. So she's anything in that time frame. She's absolutely potential.
Fair game.
Exactly.
As big of a character as Grogu. She is the future of what Star Wars wants to do.
I agree, and I think when do you think we might see her in something other than the Bad Batch? What's it? And Mark says he thinks we won't see her in live action for at least 3 or 4 years.
I think that's fair.
I agree. I think that it's too soon. So, like any speculation, we would see her in, say, Kenobi or in.
I think that her vehicle is Book of Boba. I think that we will see her first in Book of Boba. So Kenobi's out, right? Because Kenobi's he's fresh. I mean, that's about to happen.
Yeah. Well,
which brings up the question: she's gone during that. It's very possible that she's. Wait. Okay. Where's the timeline here?
She exists in the timeline. It should be
she
young
does.
Still, but
yes.
I think it's too early to start. Sprinkling her into these other series. Andor, for example. Andor, we've got Kenobi and Andor like right on the doorstep. Even Book of Boba Fett season 1, assuming it's going to be, I think we've heard as many as 3. She's, I think, it's still a bit early. Only because they haven't had enough time. In
3-4 years is good. That's good. Yeah. Hamilton's on it.
Yeah,
and I mean that's just logic. Right,
and I agree. And Meg is correct as well. Not in the card for the Book of Boba Fett. I agree. I think it's too early.
Not this season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Right, this season it's way too early.
Way too early. We still got at least another season of Bad Batch before we even start sniffing her. Because what's going to happen is we're going to fall in love with her on season 2 of the Bad Batch. We're going to fall in love with what she's able to do, and we're going to be like, oh, nobody can mess with this girl. She might even do something really, really ruthless that we're like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And Trev's on board with you. Right? What if she gets frozen in carbonite during the Bad Batch?
She will. But I don't know if the Bad Batch will know it. I think we're looking at a fake death or a supposed death. And, this is a big part of this because I didn't bring this up in any of the videos or anything, and I meant to say this to you. Sid's a big part of this. Sid is important here. And I think that you can use the same logic in predicting that we're going to see a live-action Sid. And here's the thing. What was that? The Kenobi preview where we saw the Trandoshans at the table? Is that what?
No, that was...
Oh, no, it was Book of Boba. Yeah. I think that's important. I think because if Sid continues, if Sid doesn't die, Sid's going to be big as far as the underground of crime. She has to be. She has
set up to be, right? On Ord Mantell. Ord Mantell is a pivotal kind of place, and she's in a pivotal role on a pivotal place.
She's got that helmet. Sid, so... I feel like Omega's going to wake up and go in there and suit up with whatever Sid's got in that office. I feel like, and I base this on who voices Sid. Sid, Rhea Perlman, right?
Yeah.
Who, if anybody doesn't know who that is, it's Danny DeVito's wife. She played his wife in Matilda. She also was the waitress from that long run of Cheers. Right?
Yes.
Am I right? Check me.
Yes.
Fact check, please. Okay, cool. I feel like, based off of how they've got most of the actors in Mando being friends of, they're comedians. A huge chunk of the actors involved in Mando are comedians that are friends with John.
Yes.
That's how I'm reading that.
Yep.
I feel like there's a connection between Rhea Perlman as basically a comedian and John as well. And I feel like that connection has translated over to Filoni planning Sid in the future and them basically casting her a few years out to be in live action.
Yeah. And Anderson put, I think she dies before Rebels, meaning Omega. I'm curious why you think that, Anderson. I'm curious why
she's missing.
Well, she's missing, but so is Fennec. Right? So is Fennec Shand. And Fennec Shand is really the key to me in tying Omega into post-original trilogy era. Fennec exists before, Fennec exists after. Where was Fennec in between? We don't know. It's a curious. And I actually think, and I throw this by you as well, I think the machinations in Fennec's abdomen are there before we see her in Mandalorian. When she gets
so you think that there's a relationship between her and Bulba that predates that existing connection that was introduced in Mando?
Well, maybe, but I think that the machinations, she may have been injured.
Right, and he fixed her
anytime and was fixed before Boba ever came into touch with her.
Yeah.
And he meets her. She's already got that mechanization in her when he finds her, and he just fixes it. I don't think he put it there. I think he repaired what was already there. That's me. I think she gets injured somewhere else doing something else, and she's repaired by somebody else, like way off story. But we do get her bookended around the original trilogy. Fennec was missing during the entire, and I keep going back to her being a bounty hunter, and when Vader calls the top bounty hunters of the era to come in, we don't see Fennec. We also don't see Cad Bane.
Right.
There on Executor. So, where was Cad Bane? We've heard Cad Bane's going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. So there's lots of people, Fennec, Cad Bane, Omega, who are missing.
Right.
You could throw Thrawn in there if you wanted to, but
I feel like there was a pitch room that had this exact conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a whole group of individuals working for Star Wars or Lucasfilms who are sitting there having the exact same conversation that we are having now, and we're just trying to back engineer it. But I wonder how much, we know that they know, and they know that we know that they know, but do they know that we know that they know that we know? Like, how much are they trying to throw us off the track with?
Yeah. And I agree with Meg. I don't think she's going to die. I also don't think she's going to be frozen in carbonite. And if she is, it's not going to upset me. I just don't think she is. I think he wants to use her in other projects. And if she's frozen in carbonite, she's not really a compelling character. She's a block of carbonite. So I think they'll want to use it there. So, and then I saw another, where was the Bad Batch? Right? Well, we don't know, right? We don't know where the Bad Batch were.
The Bad Batch, though, I mean, being mercenaries, they could not be, it's not like, where were the Avengers at this point in the timeline? Like, they could be doing anything. They could be literally doing anything. They're not concerned with anything other. But see, if Omega's missing, and they're looking for her, in the same way there's, like, Ezra Bridger, like, lost time, then that explains everything.
Yeah,
well, like you can fit everything in there.
I think
you could have multiple seasons of the Bad Batch. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you could have multiple seasons of the Bad Batch, but they're just searching for Omega.
Well, you could. Absolutely, you could. You can also have a whole spin-off featured with Fennec and Omega. like
Yep.
a whole spin-off, because they're gone the entire time. What are they doing? They're
Right.
doing stuff. They're out there. They're busy.
And
There's
then
something
Book of
else
Boba.
going on.
Boba, there's something I haven't told you yet.
Yeah,
Tell me more, Finnick.
I think we tend to get a little bit of blinders on when we
Yeah.
talk about different eras and different characters. Like, we keep hearing the same names come up over and over again. We keep seeing the same characters over and over again. But the universe is a much bigger place. Thousands of systems and planets. And there's plenty of things that could be going on during the original trilogy. Right? We see the Rebel Alliance. It's a fairly small thing that ends up taking out the Empire. In
Yeah.
the sequels, we get the Resistance, which is a fairly small thing related to the First Order or the Final Order, whatever. And when we see all of those ships come in at the end, and you see the Ghost,
Yes.
right at the end there in Rise of Skywalker, you see the Ghost in there, and lots of other ships. There's
Dude,
things
there's
going
no
on.
telling. There's no telling how many people and characters that we love, that we know about now, have been in the Ghost between what we've seen and what we know happens. Like
Yeah.
all of this stuff. All of this stuff. If you prolong Omega's age by putting her in carbonate, she could have contact with Rey in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
You could totally do that.
She could be about the same age. Like,
Right.
if she's been in carbonite suspended all those years, and then you back up and make her much younger, and you can go forward. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. I agree with Meg. I think the safe bet is that Filoni is going to build out Omega like he did with Ahsoka, and she is his next big character to develop. And it's already started, and that's where we're headed. I love your video, by the way. I want to promote it again. It's in the comments here. Look, you guys.
I owe you a lot of respect, sir. Thank you for helping me out. Thank you for being a test audience. Thank you for your friendship. I also want to thank individuals like Trinity, who have been a huge support for me as well. All of those people, Mike, the immortal Mike Porter. Like, all of you guys have been, I like the community. I need a community. I'm doing some weird woo-woo shit over here, guys. Meg's right. The conspiracies are coming. Tin foil. There will be red yarn.
I love it, Will. Look, you guys, do yourselves a favor. Go check out MetaEgg. Subscribe. You don't have to agree with Will.
No, that's not the point.
No, he's connecting dots. Whether you believe they're make-believe dots or real doesn't really matter. It's great content, and I absolutely love everything you do, Will, and your channel. I your energy, your thought process, what you bring to the table is fantastic. It's great, and I hope that we see your channel grow exponentially. I want more people to check it out. There's some good content there. You guys gotta go check it out. So the link to MetaEgg is in the description here. Please go check that out, and be sure to watch this video. Right, be sure to watch this video that we have released today. And as Will said, I was able to be a test audience for him on a bit earlier. And
Santa approved. Santa approved.
Santa approved.
Doing my best, guys.
Right.
I want to get on the right list.
Absolutely love it. You guys, yeah. I may just get caught up. I saw Bob's here. Bob's your uncle. Bob's here. Good to see you. Boba and Omega could have been in the Battle of Exegol. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they weren't there. Right. They could have been in that fleet. Absolutely.
Could be in the Ghost.
People have been picking out small bits. They see like the Naboo fighters. Some people found them in there. There's all kinds of things. So there's tens of.
So that brings up. Do you think we'll see Hera and Omega with each other again? There's a relationship there as well.
Yes, and that relationship has been started, right? We saw it started in season 1. I think we'll see Omega meet Hera again. They're more, peers-ish, and I think we'll see some of that. And then that then they'll be separated as well. Omega is going to get separated off, and I think it's Fennec that's going. Her and Fennec are going to end up going out, whether by her will or not, and whether she ends up carbonized or not, I'm not sure. But I think their stories are linked together. I absolutely believe that Fennec and Omega's stories are linked together, and we're going to get some sort of series. You talk about there was talk of the Acolyte being a female-led.
It makes so much sense. It's like a Kurosawa movie, like two girl samurais that are like, dude, it would be great.
I think we've got a female-led series. Fennec, who's a rising star in the Star Wars community. And Omega.
That might be two dots connected, man. That might be because we know that's coming, right?
Yeah.
What if that was the plan the whole time?
It could be. Oh. It absolutely could be. I'm up for it.
And, see, this is totally acceptable. Although I think replacing Boba Fett was done probably with a little bit of pandering to social justice warriors in some pitch room, saying, "Hey, we need a new Boba Fett. Well, we can't do the old Boba Fett. Well, let's make her a female." I think in the way that it's done, I don't care. I just want to see it. I'm excited. I want to see some just taught by the Bad Batch, older version of Omega, just owning it, just being everything that all the hype for Boba Fett was from the minute they first saw that first figure. You know what I mean? From those first them going down and it was like a state parade fair, a state fair parade or something like that, when they had Darth Vader and the armor of Boba Fett, and everybody's like, who we didn't even see that. He died the first movie. We're like, what is going on? But now we have an opportunity to have all of that, everything we wanted in Boba Fett. And I don't care. I don't care if it's Omega, because now I love Omega. Now I'm in love. I only want more out of her. I only want to see more of her. And I'm so excited that we're finally we have something to be excited about. As far as Star Wars, we have a future. You can look at this and you're like, whoo, yeah, they're planning. They're planning. Boom, conspiracy theory or not, we know that's happening. And I don't care. All I'm in, as far as MetaEgg's concerned, you might not understand about it. You might not even, people are getting mad at me. When I first mentioned anything about Omega being the clone to Boba, they were like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then when it happened, everybody shut up. Look, man, doesn't matter if it's going to happen or not. When you throw this much at the wall, you know something. But I'm enthusiastic because I think you going along with it is, from the minute I sent it to you, was like confirmation to me. It made me feel good.
Look,
I don't feel as crazy.
I'm super excited for the future of Star Wars. I think Meg is also super excited. 2022 is going to be a huge year. And look, over the last, say, 24, 48 hours, there's been a lot of rumbling about, this or that's going on. There's some sort of feud between Feige and Kennedy. There's a bunch of nonsense news stories out there that I think are absolutely bogus. Right. Yeah. I think they're bogus. I don't work for Lucasfilm. I don't sit in the executive meetings. I don't know Kevin Feige or Kathleen Kennedy personally. I've never met them. So I can't tell you if they have admiration for one another or they hate one another. I don't know. But to me, it seems like a bunch of stuff's getting made up to fit narratives that people want to say on a political side. And I honestly could care less. I care about.
That's why I love you. Right now, most content is so it's so focused on pulling those emotional strings just so it will get shares. But I don't like those feelings. So I took a break from Facebook and I went back and I was like, ew, it's so and YouTube can be the same way. YouTube is, but some people do it because it causes a controversy. But when I listen to your show, it just makes me feel like Christmas morning every morning. Every morning.
You will. Thank you so much. I love talking about the content, and that's where I think I can be excited
focus on
about
content.
Star Wars, because 2022 we've got so much great Star Wars content coming, and I agree with everything you've said about planning. We know that something changed at Lucasfilm, and that planning is a high priority, and that Rogue Squadron got pushed back because they're planning it better is indicative of that. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. No, I'm happy that we're getting great content, and anything they do to give us better content is great. I think that's great news for us. And seeing this come about, seeing the Book of Boba Fett is going to start. We get this great Disney Plus day on Friday. We get another D23 coming up later this month. Then we got an investor meeting after that. We're going to get loads of news. Real news, not made up crap about political infighting between, Sally doesn't like Susie because she took her hair braids. I don't care. I really don't care. I want to know what Star Wars content we're getting, and I think it's fantastic. Meg says, Will needs his own podcast. Will, I love you so much.
Dude. You just love me for my rant voice, Meg.
Your energy, and it's your brain. Like the way that you think things through and make connections to things, I think is brilliant, and I love it. Your entertainment value is off the charts. So yeah. Oh my goodness. And Meg, of course, in the chat. Meg, look, Star Wars Meg is like Fennec Shand, a shooting star in this community, right? Like Fennec Shand, people are falling in love with Fennec Shand. They want to consume all of the Fennec Shand merchandise and content they can get. And I think that Star Wars Meg is another shooting star in this community.
She's our Fennec Shand.
She is. I love her. I absolutely adore her. She's a great friend of mine as well, outside of these channels. But I
gotta tell you, with her quick wit, I'm about as scared of her as I am of Fennec Shand. She's a sharp shooter, man.
Yeah, you don't mess around with her. She will get you. She will. Exactly. She's always there. Taking those shots at me and
shooting star
every time. She's great. Yes, it's great, and I can't wait till she does hit 100,000 subscribers. It's gonna happen soon. Look, you guys, go check out MetaEgg, please. And Will, you've got other things in the fire.
Yes.
You've been out there planning. You've been we've been collaborating. We've been talking a lot.
Yep.
And I'm excited about your future. And I'm
next week. We got another video coming out next week, you guys. It's not going to be MCU. Oh wait, I mean it's not going to be Star Wars. It has a little bit of MCU. Has a little bit of DC content in it. But I picked a subject matter that I think is going to be pretty big in the upcoming year. It has to do with Michael Keaton, if he is the best Batman or not. So please stay tuned to that. And after that, even more coming. But, of course, only as much as Santa will test the audience.
I love it. And Meg says she's not as scary in real life. Well, it's because she's like 5 foot tall. No, she's like 5'4", I think. She's short. So that's why she's not scary. She's just...
So is Fennec Shand. So is it. Big cannon.
Randy, it's not fake Star Wars Meg. It's the real Star Wars Meg. Or if you listen to her, it's Star Wars Meg's dog. Either way, however you want to look at it.
I want to see like the top of Star Wars Meg's channel with like a Fennec Shand helmet over her face. Somebody needs to meme it.
Okay, we've got it. We've got the order. And we have somebody in the chat here that can make that happen. So we need, and you know who you are in the chat. We need that photoshopped quickly. We need Fennec Meg.
Fennec Meg.
The order has been placed. So you've got the Michael Keaton video coming. I think you have something else later down the pipeline.
Yes, I think we're gonna have like a little bit of a MetaEgg award for the year of 2021. That's probably going to be the same week as Thanksgiving on the 22nd. I think is what we got it. And I've been trying to get some celebrity help and showing up, but they're not responding to my emails. Regardless, we're going to give them the reward. or the award, or however you say it. But after that, I mean, anything goes for MetaEgg. I got a whole bunch of stuff planned. Like, you guys don't understand. There's a curriculum. We're going somewhere. Those are all shows that I've got planned. And so anything it's conspiracy. I might show you where Jesus gets married in the Bible, or I might just analyze the cover for the Tomb of Horrors, Dungeons and Dragons manual. Anything goes. I'm just making shit up. So, but it's a place where it's not just my ideas. I'm scrounging the internet and I'm giving sources to some things. Some things I'm not. Some things I'm just stealing a bold right. But it's all mixed together in a big stew where, like, if you watch the video, I'm just not telling you about the theory about Omega. I'm also kind of backing it up with stuff from Disney Plus. You know, I'm showing you, like, this is what they're doing. You might know about some of it, you might not, but that's the point. I want to build it and gain your trust, and then I'm going to blow your dang mind. I'm going to crack those eggs right open, people. Where there's all kinds of those goodies that are in this middle of those MetaEggs are just going to go boom all up in your domes, and It's going to be a very confusing time, but I want you to spend it with us. So.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys stay in touch. Join us on Discord. And as I said, I don't promote my own channel enough. If you've not subscribed, I would truly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. Let other folks know that we're doing here. The real Star Wars Meg loves to hang out here. We've even seen some other folks pop into our chat that you would know. Jay, Drunk 3PO, he stops in from time to time. So you guys, it's a great community. We met through the Den of Nerds, and it's built a friendship that has exceeded that, and I look forward to where we're headed. I do have our Mike Porter dad joke of the day. I'm going to front load it today because it's been getting cut off there at the end. I'm going to front load it. Will, I'm going to take you off the stream, but hang out. I'll be right back to you.
You're a saint, Santa. You're a saint.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. All right, so you guys, thank you for being here today. You've heard in the background Meg's from Meg's Cantina, the Hoth music. If you've not subscribed to Meg's Cantina, go check that out with Star Wars Meg. She writes music. She creates these soundtracks, and she has given me permission to use it for my live stream. So huge thanks to you, Meg. Type in Star Wars Santa and Meg, and you'll see many streams we've done. We've done many live streams together, and we have plans to do more. We have plans to do more. So let me bring up here in the I've got the Mike Porter dad joke of the day, you guys, and then we'll do the outro. Thank you once again for being here, and here we go. The Mike Porter dad joke. What's a duck's favorite winter dish? Chili with quackers. Oh, thank you, Mike Porter. We appreciate you being part of this community. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.